Well, good afternoon, everyone. All of you who are joining me from all the centers, all the exam centers, welcome you to the analysis and also the first impression for CLAT 2024. So I'm sure at this point of time, while you've just stepped out of your centers, you must all be a bundle of nerves, a lot of excitement, some confusion, right? But you are not alone here, right? Everyone, I'm sure, is feeling that way. And that's the reason why we are here today, to share some of the concerns, some of the excitement, right? Today with all of you here. And the flow that we will have today is basically, first we'll have the first impressions. I will be joined by my centers here, a lot of students who have already joined me from various centers. Now there's also our set of mentors who are there at our head office here in Hazratganj, Lucknow. From time to time we will be getting feedback from them. And also we will be connecting with all of our centers across India today and get a first-hand feel as to how CLAT 2024 looked like. Before I came online, I have spoken to a couple of students on the phone. Some have connected on WhatsApp. And some local students have already started thronging our centers. You know, they are already giving us a lot of information about CLAT 2024. And if I may sum it, I think the students are a little surprised today because they say they did not expect such an easy paper. So if I can sum it, the students in some of the centers are very excited because some of the sections that they typically fear a lot. But post the exam, the students are pretty happy with their attempts. They are pretty happy with the kind of questions that were asked. And to summarize, there has been no major issue in terms of any particular question being out of syllabus or something that was not taught in the classroom. So while that's fantastic news, but obviously that also is an indication of the kind of, the kind of scores that will be there for this year. So obviously, as I said, I'm sure all of us today are a bundle of a lot of anxiety, lot of anxiousness around. But then, as I said, don't worry. Everyone is feeling the same. And sitting at a Hazratganj center and interacting with all of you today, some of the students are already with us. We feel pretty excited, and we are also looking forward to basically a lot of action in the next couple of hours. So once we have shared our first cut impression, we will be joined by our mentors, our faculty members, who will be discussing threadbare the paper today. All the sections will be discussed. Also, we will get an understanding as to what are the kind of cutoffs to expect this year. Considering that, on the whole, it seems like an easy paper this time around. So all of that and much more we will be sharing with you today. So we have with us Trushil Vyas, who was an All India Ranker 7 in CLAT 2023. So he's a CP student, and I would basically like to connect him today. And he's currently in NLU Bangalore. And he's also interacted with a couple of students himself because NLU Bangalore was apparently one of the centers. So can we take him online? Trushil Vyas, All India Ranker 7, CLAT 2023. Hi, Trushil.
Hi. Hello. Can you
hi,
hear us?
Trushil. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Very good. I don't know the name of your friend there. So can we have an introduction, please?
This is Arnavar.
Okay, fantastic. So,
Yeah.
Trishil, we've been speaking to a couple of our students here in Lucknow, and the first cut feedback that we have received is that the paper was quite easy. Okay,
Yes,
so
that is
so yeah, so between now
yeah.
that we have both of you last year ranked 4, I mean CLAT 4 All India rank and CLAT 7 All India rank. You've been there, you've done that, and done so fantastically last year. So I'm sure you will have some of your opinions as to CLAT 2023. So when I mean I'm told that your college was also one of the centers. So what is the first cut feel that you're getting when you're spoken to all the test takers of CLAT 2023? I see a lot of smiles
Okay.
there.
Okay. So, one of the first things that all my friends have told me is that the paper was very easy. The GK section in particular was very easy since all the since
Yeah, I mean,
all the
it's
answers
actually,
to the
I'm not
questions.
sure if it's a good news or not because the cutoffs are going to look, really high with
Yes,
this.
yes, that's one of the things because all the answers to the GK questions were in the passage itself, and then apparently math section was very easy as well. That is one of the sections that is generally considered to be quite difficult, but this time a lot of people were able to attempt many of the questions in that section, and apparently the rest of the paper was quite easy too. That's what most of the students here have said. So in general, I think the cutoff this year will be high. Like I would say around 95 to 100.
So, what was the mood of the students, the test takers today? Were they generally in a very vibrant mood after having stepped out of, after taking such an easy exam?
I guess I'll answer that because I was just outside talking to a few of them, and they appeared really nonchalant. And
Can you just
like,
come closer to the mic? I'm sorry because, I
yeah,
can't really hear you.
better.
Better.
Yeah, yeah. So, is this fine?
Yeah, that's fine. Much better. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, when I was talking like during our paper in 23, there were people who were crying, there were people who were actually quite cheerful. But here, everybody seems so nonchalant. Even while entering the exam center, I was like, why are you guys not nervous or anything? Like, but yeah, even now, absolutely no sentiment showing. Like, just okay, we gave the paper and we're back. I guess that was just our center. I don't know about other centers, but yeah.
So, if I were to sum up with what you guys are saying, is that compared to last year, when you guys have done, CP so proud, rank number 4, rank number 7, so it's coming from the best. I can assure everyone who's watching. If you guys are saying that the interactions that you had were nothing like last year's, when there was a lot of tension in the air, a lot of students were already crying. Then I hear from a lot of people. So you did not witness anything like that, at least today, which is basically giving us a solid feedback that in terms of the difficulty this year, it's pretty low. And while that might be good news for the test takers, when we were to look, if you were to look at it from a current context, but yeah, now the next big question, which our mentors and experts will, help us understand later, will be in terms of the cutoffs that we'll see this year. So you guys are smiling, a lot of smiles I see. So I think you all can't still believe how easy the paper could have been, and probably you're wishing that last year, because you guys really struggled, it was very, very tough exam, and you probably think that probably this was a better year to take it. But anyways, you guys were already there, as I said, in the top, making CP proud at rank number 4 and rank number 7. So obviously, anything else you would like to mention with regards to today's exam? Any other thing that came up with regards to any section, or some feedback which you would like to share with us?
No, nothing in particular. Just the GK and math sections is what my friends told me about, and nothing else. No one particularly mentioned the legal or CR or RC sections, so I'm assuming they were pretty regular.
Okay, so basically nothing out of the box, pretty run-of-the-mill stuff this year. I mean, that seems to be the sentiment here. And well, thanks, guys, for joining us. We will take you back as and when we need you. In the meanwhile, we'll look at more feedbacks coming in, not only from our centers, but also from some of the students that are currently visiting our center in Hazratganj, Lucknow, right? So thank you very much for this feedback, guys. Okay, so thank you. I mean, that was a feedback from our last year's toppers, All India rank 4, All India rank 7, right? So, as I said, to summarize, while it might seem good news for all the test takers today, because they're all feeling very enthusiastic, full of excitement, because they've probably expected a tougher exam, but it doesn't seem in the first, the kind of interactions that we are having, it didn't seem like a tough exam. Now, one of the things that generally students fear is the GK section, right? So GK is something that a lot of students crib about, and they say it's tough, and there are a lot of issues and concerns around the GK. So this time around, with what I had, as I told you guys, that I was with some of the students just before I came here, and I've been told that in GK there were hardly any tricky questions. In fact, one of the feedback has been that some of the answers to the questions were already given in the passage, right? Which is quite astonishing for the kind of exam that CLAT otherwise is. Also, some of the topics that they touched base with was Palestine-Israel issue, pretty current affair, and also India-Canada relationships, G20 summits, Jallianwala Bagh. So nothing really spectacularly different, if I were to say that. So now I would like to, interact with some of our students from CP Hazratganj. They are sitting with us, and I'd like to take first feedback from CP Hazratganj. Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, so fantastic to see you all. Very happy faces out there, right? So why don't you share with us, since you've been, just come to the center after writing your exam, what is your first feedback on the kind of question paper it was?
Sir, the level of the paper was definitely lower than that of, the mocks that we give at CP. And I would actually call it an easy paper because GK was very diluted. Like we were stressing upon GK a lot,
Yeah, I know. I
we
mean,
were
interacting
stressed
with all
about
of
it,
you, that
going
was
through
something
everything till
that,
the last moment.
right.
But GK was comparatively very diluted. English itself, the English section, RC section was very diluted. Maths was also comparatively easier than what we had in the mocks. I won't say very easy, but easier than what we had in the mocks. And I mean, all in all, it was a very, very diluted paper, is what I feel. But
So
I mean,
basically, because
everyone's
having interacted with all of you at a very personal level, as you said, that GK is something that, till the last moment, you guys were coming to the centers, having classes, right? Because we all felt that GK was never enough, right? That's the kind of feedback that you students gave. So what makes me happy is that, when you say that the mocks, the internal mocks that CP took, they were, they have basically, they guided you well, and they set up a good stage for all of you guys to take this final exam. And if you compare it with the internal mocks that CP took, you guys thought that you were placed very well, very comfortably to take an exam like this. So can we make that assumption?
So they can make that assumption because anyone who was faring well in CP mocks, I would assume would fare well in this paper as well.
Like the amount of preparations we have been doing for the GK section, like we have been dying all these months for GK, but the moment we saw what they were asking, I was like, what are you doing, yeah?
So did it make you happy, or were you like, okay, we prepared for much tougher exams, so maybe now the cutoffs will be higher? So what did you think about an easy paper?
Initially during the paper, when I was giving the paper, so I usually start with the quantitative sections. So because that takes like a substantial amount of time, so I just designated 25 minutes so that I could just finish it up in 25 minutes and then focus on other sections. But then I finished the quant section pretty early. So that was the first indicator to me that the paper is easy. And then I was at first elated that it's easy, but then slowly my elation just flat out disappeared because I was like, Because the same thing has happened to me in CUET. The papers were easy, so the cutoffs were high, and I did not get the college of my choice. So this, I think, this might also happen here, that the cutoffs will soar this time again.
Okay. And if I were to ask in terms of number of attempts, what are the kind of attempts that you all?
So we've done all attempts actually.
Good attempt will be 110 plus. Like if you are doing what like if you have done it like properly, you are prepared. Then 110 is like
An
must.
easy way
It's
to easy to just solve above 110 questions.
Okay. So as I've asked you, how much did you attempt? How many questions did you attempt?
I attempted in totality 118 questions. The two
Okay.
questions that I left were actually I had last moment doubts in one of the two of the GK questions. So rather than losing marks over it, negative marking and all, I just decided to skip those questions.
So that was,
I
I think,
attempted 118.
that was, I think, a good strategy to have, and I'm happy to see that CP students have performed well, and it's actually very good to see and speak to all of you today because all these months and years of hard work that has gone in. I think it's finally bearing fruit, and I think that will hold CP in good state. And we are obviously expecting. We have a lot of expectations, and we expect, a lot of action in the coming days. So now, thank you guys from CP Hazratganj. That was those were our students from CLAT Possible Hazratganj Lucknow. Now I will be joined by with Rishabh Shivani, who was All India Rank 1 to 2022. So I see Rishabh. So nice to see you here. Then Akshat Agarwal, who was All India Rank 5, and Aditya Bhargav, who is currently studying in NLSIU. So a lot of performers, a lot of heavy-duty performances that went last year with all of you. So I'm sure it will be very insightful to get some feedback when it comes to probably having interacted with the current test takers. So what's your first cut, Rishabh?
I mean, I think the paper looks really easy right now. I mean, in terms of in every section, even English, the passages are like very short, and GK is also pretty easy. But I don't think that is particularly a reason to be
Recording in
happy because that
progress.
just means the cutoff will be higher, right? Because it's not about how much marks used for it, it's about like the relative marking, right? So
Right.
it'll just be about the accuracy because I think everyone would have attempted at least 110 plus. So it's just about how much with how much accuracy can you attempt those questions.
Well, I think that's a very fresh insight that we've got from you, Rishabh, because most of the students, as you said, probably might think that if I've attempted a lot of questions, it's easy. But obviously, one of the things that will make the whole lot of difference will be in terms of the accuracy, as you mentioned. So yeah, the accuracy will be one of the deciding factors because everyone seems to have done pretty much 90, 85, 90 plus sort of questions. So yeah, accuracy, as you said, will be the deciding factor. So when you looked at, when you spoke to the test takers, and obviously last year you have this solid experience, as I'll reiterate that Rishabh ranked All India 1 in 2022 CLAT exam. So obviously his insights are very, very useful for the current set of batches of students who have taken the exam today. So when you spoke to the students and when you compared it with last year, when you guys wrote CLAT, what were the significant differences that you sort of noticed?
I mean, in our time, like when we gave the paper, the format was also different because we attempted 150 questions.
Right.
So it was like a different volume. So now you have 120 questions in 120 minutes, which have like 30 questions of GK also. So I think the time factor is not something which is like, it's not too much hectic based on time. So apart from that, so I think it'll just be on how much tough the paper looks in terms of how many people, in terms of the determining what will be the ranks like. Here the paper seems easy. So if like the point is if the paper is tough, then everybody's score would be down. If the paper is easy, then everybody's score would be up. So at the end of the day, it's just about how much like how much you can attempt as well and with how much accuracy as well. Because if let's say somebody attempts 100 questions, right, even and with the decent accuracy, then they get around 80. But if at the same time someone attempts around 120, 115 questions with a good accuracy and they get 90 plus, so that's how it works, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
I
I
think both
agree.
of the factors need to be taken in account here.
Yeah, I think that's very insightful, and I would agree with that. So basically, if I were to say, last year, obviously you guys took the test. So in terms, because last year I remember GK was a sore thumb. A lot of students came out and they were quite sad in terms of how the GK paper went, because it was quite unexpected, right? But this time around, with all the students that we have spoken, all India, all the centers that we are currently speaking with, nobody seems to have raised any red flags. So GK this time we can safely say was quite easy. Okay. So thank you so much, Rishabh. It was great speaking to you, and we'll connect as and when we want, and when we have anything else that you might need to share with us, right? So thank you so much, Rishabh. Okay, now quickly, I mean, similar feedbacks, but new insights coming in from across India, from across CP centers. So now I would like to be joined by the Mumbai center and see if the Mumbai center has any different. Oh, okay. Okay, that we've already spoken to Rishabh. Now, can we connect with Mumbai center and see if they have anything else to add, or is it a similar feedback? Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I mean, it's great to see you out there, and know that a bright student out there. So I'm sure we'll get some great insights as to how CLAT paper looked today. So what are your first impressions?
I think the first impression was I had started taking an approach where I used to start with a section I used to feel comfortable with, and then skimming through the passage, choosing the one which appealed me the most. So that if I start my paper on a solid base, then it will set a positive note for the entire test itself.
Right.
I think RC section being the section I start with, it was actually pretty good. RC section was the main obstacles that we used to face in the RC section used to be the tones of the passages, or what the prospective profession of the author could
Author
be.
would be right.
But there were no such questions of any sort. There were no tone questions. There was no profession questions. It was actually pretty straightforward. All of it
And were
was
there
just
any
given the passage
vocabulary
and
questions? Were there any questions on vocabulary?
no, actually there weren't any questions on vocabulary to be
Yeah, in
very
fact, one of
honest.
the funny
Nothing
things,
that
one of the things that I heard, one student actually said, even the CR questions look very much like the RC questions, meaning there was no really too much of logic that needed to be applied, which I thought was, quite weird.
yeah,
So, what's your feedback on the
definitely
CR questions?
the RC section definitely did not have any of the vocabulary questions either. All of them were pretty much given the passage, and I don't think they even paraphrased some of the options, to be honest.
And
When we
if
move
I
on to
were
the
to
GK
ask you,
section, I'll
because I know that we all have worked so hard in getting questions on inferences, assumptions and all
yeah,
of that. So you are telling me that no,
absolutely.
those things really the examiner did not ask any deep inference based assumption based
In
questions.
RC, no. I think in CR they did use a lot of the basics of the CR that we learn, critical reasoning, we learn strengthening, deepening, central point, assumptions. I think those were definitely covered in the critical reasoning section or the logic section, but none of them were included in the reading comprehension section. And I think even legal did not have any of the our basic traditional passages which included contacts or the conventional ones. They were all inferential legal to be very honest, to be very clear on it. They were all given in the passages, and then if you can apply basic knowledge of taking a principle out from the passage and then applying it to the situation, legal was also a section which could have easily been something that you score in.
Okay,
I
great.
think GK, as we've all talked about GK section definitely was inferential. There was no actual GK included in it, and GK is something that we've all been pushing ourselves to cover more and more as possible. But then none of it was actually asked. I left. I attempted 117 questions. I left two of the GS questions because I figured that I was not sure. I had an idea about the answers, but I wasn't sure, and I thought that considering how easy GK section is and how easy the overall paper is, accuracy would matter. So I personally chose to not take the chance of those two questions and I left them.
Yeah, I can personally vouch for the fact that at CP a lot of emphasis is given on all the sections, but GK, as we've been everybody's
Yeah,
been pushing
GK.
really hard until the last day before yesterday. We all had GK classes, so that's the kind of focus
Exactly.
that has been there on GK. So hearing that it was a very easy and simple paper. So the good news is that when we have prepared you for a tough section and the questions that were asked were relatively easier. So to that extent, we are happy to know that you all are in good state and you all have performed very well. So on that note, if I may ask you that how was you said the GK question was quite easy, legal section again not too difficult. Between RC and CR, probably we could have exchanged the two sections that wouldn't have really mattered a lot, because we have obviously talked a lot about inferences, way question, strengthening, weakening, all of that, and good that you were tested on it and you all thought they were simpler than probably what CP taught you guys. So, as if I were to ask you post the exam, what is your feeling? I mean, because obviously there are some of you that we are expecting. CP has lots of hopes for. So, what is the kind of score that you see yourself? Just the first. I mean, I know it's a difficult question, but what's the kind of score you're expecting?
I think it's quite a difficult question. I think it's too early to predict what
Yeah, yeah,
I
sure.
think what my score would be, because the main sections which are considered to be the determining factors, which included GK and quant, or even legal to some degree, because legal used to
Okay.
comparatively be harder, were all easier. I think maths was lengthy, but it was not hard. As in, if you were dedicating some more time than you usually do to the math section, you can easily score 8 plus in the 10 question section.
Yeah, so basically DI or maths as
I
we call it was
Yeah,
also one of the things that one of the sections that is very dreaded, especially amongst non-math students.
exactly.
But you're saying no, it was very doable.
It was very doable. It just needed a little more time because the passages weren't lengthy, but the information or the data that was required to be extracted from the passages was lengthy. So
Okay.
if I talk about how much time I took, I spent around 18 to 19 minutes in the quant section.
But the good thing is you have obviously saved a lot of time from the other sections which were relatively easier.
Yes,
So
yes,
all in all, it
definitely.
was
The RC section was particularly easy, so I completed the entire RC section in around 17 to 20 minutes.
okay. One more
And
question, and
legal
then
was also doable. It didn't take me that long. It took me 33 minutes in legal. So
oh, great,
I had enough time to dedicate to the quant section.
fantastic. So one more question that I'm sure you would have taken last year's CLAT 2022 paper as well. So would you remember that when you took that test and now comparing it to what you just come out of, what do you think
Yeah.
that if we can we compare?
I don't think it would be fair to compare because considering the different pattern that was last year, the number of
And then
questions were
150
definitely more.
questions vis-a-vis 120
Yeah, the
questions this year.
120 okay, so definitely the time that you can give to each question was increased this year. So there cannot be, I don't think there can be a direct comparison in 2023 and 2024 paper, but I think that 2023 was something that actually tested some of the skills which were required by the relentless practices that we do. I think 2024, we all practiced for it, we all worked hard for it. But 2024 in comparison to 2023 would be considered easier according to me.
Okay, thank you so much for your insights, and I really hope to see all you guys right there at the top of the All India rankings. All the
Yeah.
best to you and to the Mumbai
Thank you, sir.
Center, and thank you for joining us. I can see you are on your way back from the exam center?
Yeah, actually, the center that we were allotted for the CLAT examination and the center which is which CP is in, they're around 30 kilometers apart, and in Bombay it takes
Wow.
almost 2 hours to reach there.
Okay, I really hope the distance was well worth it. Right. So on that note, thank
Yes,
you so
thank you.
much. And talking about CP All India rankers, I would like to be joined by Akshat Agarwal, who was CPA All India ranked 5 in CLAT 2022. So just straight from the toppers there. Hi Akshat, how are you doing?
Hey, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, we saw the paper, we went around it. It's great. Like, Clat always never fails to disappoint. And yeah, I mean, the paper is quite
Never
laughable
fails to
because,
disappoint, or
and
today looking at how it has been never fails to surprise. Huh? Everybody was expecting a
yeah,
tough
that too.
paper.
I mean, you don't expect RC questions in GK at the very least. So there are like a lot
Absolutely.
of inference-based questions in GK, which just, in my opinion, just defeats the whole point of learning GK as it is. But yeah, regarding my insights on the CLAT paper, I think, yeah. So, first of all, I think I just advise all the aspirants who've come back from the center, okay, just put it to rest for some time because the thing is, things are going to be very uncertain until and unless the answer key comes out. And
Absolutely.
I would also say until and unless the result is out. So, even when we give the paper, some people did claim that, okay, it's going to be very easy, the cutoff is going to skyrocket and all. It was just plain and simple, nothing too out of the ordinary, right? But yeah, so until unless the answer key and all is out, just don't fret too much about it. That so one thing is very clear that even Rishabh also pointed out that this time because you had 120 questions, 120 minutes, so time factor is essentially gone, and so that you don't have an edge there, and you also don't have an edge with respect to the number of attempts you've made because there are a lot of people. I've been talking to a lot of mentees and a lot of aspirants here. They've been consistently saying, okay, we attempted more than 110 questions. So that's there. So your edge is largely in accuracy, and I think there are certain aspirants and like there are certain set of mistakes which are like uh, very obvious and very silly mistakes which we call. So I think if you made those kind of mistakes in a paper, that might cost you a lot. So I would boil down to accuracy, but then again, it's too early to say anything at this point.
Yeah, I think that's wise words there. So one more question for you, considering you did so well last year as an All India rank of 5. So obviously you know it better than most of us here. So in terms of difficulty level, because you would have taken the first look at this year's papers. So if you were to compare it with last year's paper, obviously in terms of, as all of you been mentioning, that there was this time advantage this year because 120 questions spread over 120 minutes. And last year, you had 150 questions. So when you look at the paper today, how would you compare in terms of overall difficulties sectional wise?
I mean, it was pretty easy. So, like, even for me, I have not touched GK substantially for like it's been like 1 year or 1.5 years. I could still crack much of it, right? Because it was based on inferences and very obvious, and even the topics which they picked up. Like, I think this topic on Gaza and all, right? And G20. So these are like very obvious, very hot topics, right?
Yeah,
That was
very
one of the case.
predictive. As you were saying, Jallianwala Bagh, Palestine-Israel issue, G20 summit,
Yeah, yeah.
India-Canada relationships, all very topical, no air of surprises there.
Exactly.
So I
So
agree.
when we gave our paper, we had like one or two passages were completely out of the blue. Like you would never expect that to show up in
Like
a
a FIFA
flat
World Cup,
exam.
I remember.
Yeah, and I don't think that happened with you guys. So yeah, I mean that's there, and like the quality of questions itself was uh, not up to the mark in my opinion. But one thing which I've also heard is that that even CR there were a couple of weird questions in CR as well. So it's strange because when we gave our paper and when our juniors gave our paper, so I'm talking about the batch of 2028, which is there, who gave the paper in the December of 2022. So these guys, so clad by that time, it had attained a pattern. There was some logical sense, okay, that you could expect the traditional CR questions and the type of GK questions which were used to be asked, like, fact based questions, whatever. And now it's just, again, Now again, so next year you don't know what's gonna happen. They might give you the same set of GK questions, inferences and all in GK questions, but they might also go back to the old model. So
So
there's like
basically,
no
what you're
answers
saying
for
is
the future
one
happening.
thing that we can definitely expect is a lot of unpredictability in the exam, right? Because you can't really predict what the next is going to look like. So one last question, Akshat, having been there, done that, and done it so terrifically well, what advice would you like to give all the test takers this year? Because as we can see, there are a bundle of nerves right now, excited but still nervous and anxious. So what would be your words of advice to these students?
Yeah, I would just say don't give in to this idea that okay, just because you found the paper easy or very easy, whatever, this cutoffs are gonna skyrocket, and until unless you don't score like 115 out of 120, you're not getting NLS. Don't give in to this fallacy. Wait, just take a day off, please. Hang out with your family and all that. That would be my
Yeah,
advice. Just
probably
take
go
a
and
day off.
watch Animal, right? Everybody's been talking about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, enjoy, do whatever you want to do. Just don't think or talk too much about CLAT after the session, of course. But yeah.
So, so nice talking to Akshat. I wish you all the best, and it feels so great to actually see our CP students doing so well, and it's really fantastic interacting with you. One of the feedbacks that we've been getting, our panel, our team is sitting there interacting with a lot of students from all over India, from a lot of our students all across India. And some things that I can highlight at this point of time is that a good RC score is like 20 minimum. So a minimum of 20 in RC is probably a good score. And when it comes to GK, 20 plus score is something that will keep you well above the competition. It will hold you in good stead. So basically, these are some of the first cards that we are receiving. I can see now I'm joined by CP Hazratganj once again. I can see some new faces out there. So yeah, why don't you share with us any new insights, because all of you just come out a few hours ago, not even a few hours ago, just an hour back. So what's the first cut impression on the test that you just took?
Easy. CR was a bit tricky, as the last passage was based on the course of action. Legal was pretty basic, RC2, and the cutoff would be very high, I guess.
So if I were to ask you from the perspective, you all have been part of the Breeze batch. So obviously you've taken a whole lot of mocks in the last couple of months. So if I were to ask you that, all that preparation, all your mentors, faculty members, all the mocks that were, conducted, how do you think that, were they helpful? Did they make you more confident today when you were writing your exam?
Yes, as CP provides us a variety of questions in both legal and CR, we were pretty safe in today's exam, I would say.
So that's extremely heartening to hear, because one of the things is the question paper might be easy. I mean, no worries, because all the confidence that you went out with today when I'm sure you entered your test centers. I mean, that is something that is going to make a whole lot of difference, right? Going there with a positive mind, a whole lot of positivity, and also the confidence that your faculty members and the CP faculty have gotten. They've got your back, and you can obviously be rest assured that your paper will be good. And when it turns out to be good, like all of you are saying, I think it's just very, very heartening to hear. So is there anything else that you would like to share? Anyone out there who's sitting with you?
No.
Okay, so thank you very much. On that note, I wish you all the best, CP Hazratganj. Now, I'm seeing our Kanpur Center of CLAT Possible has been waiting for quite some while. So can we connect with CP Kanpur?
Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you there.
I'm fine, sir.
Okay, so I can see you've quickly, came back to your center after writing the exam, which is very, very good to see. So then again, my question, as I've been asking all the centers, how would you describe, one, the paper today, and also if I were to ask you each section, if you can just summarize to me how it went for you. So yeah, I can see two bright students in front. Yeah.
So the biggest surprise was that it was not tough. We were like, okay, in the next section it will be tough. In the next section it will be lengthy. But that's
No,
not the
you.
case.
I'm
And
sorry. I'm sorry. You have to probably put your mic in a better place and probably speak a little slower because I'm getting a lot of echo there. Yes, tell me.
because the biggest surprise was the paper was looking little bit easy, and we were thinking that okay, this section is easy, next one will be tough, next one will be lengthy. But all the sections were easy and short one, and I was thinking, where is the passage of 451?
And my biggest surprise for the paper was I'm looking at the length. It's like 150 approx. Another passage is 150 to 200. And my biggest shock was GK. I was so traumatized for GK. I was like, okay, I have to study GK. It's there I can cope up. I'm lacking in GK. But I saw GK and I'm like, okay, wow.
In GK, what was the most unexpected topic that came? That was the Jallianwala Bagh.
Yeah.
Because we were thinking something recent or hot topic, but Jallianwala was because it's a school time topic that we have studied.
Absolutely.
So it's not something new. And what was the new in CR was they asked something solution based answer.
Course of action,
What
will
will
they
what
do?
the
What-
course of action
Yeah.
you will take in that situation?
Like there
Yeah, I
was this
remember
question,
having, on quite a few occasions personally interacted with you. And I remember spending so much of time in basically saying that, there might be lengthy passages, right? There might be passages in terms of the words that will be used in terms of probably being abstract in nature. And that, we were basically discussing all of that. So obviously it is a big surprise when you all say that, it was nothing like that. But the good news is, I think what we should look at, the way we should look at it is that, probably we were equipped so well, with all the efforts that have gone in. We were equipped so well that, we found today's paper very doable, and, we really didn't find any surprise elements there. So obviously that's good. And I'm sure that, you all are basically looking forward to the answers keys coming, and then getting a good hang of how you scored. So today, after in terms of in terms of GK, you all saying it was easy. What about CR? I mean, some people actually said CR questions and RC questions look pretty much alike, which was because in RC I remember we have really gone in deep, long passages, difficult passages, abstract passages. But obviously, to that extent, today was a easier day when it came to CR and RC.
In CR, what was the main thing that they're asking? What you think about it? They're not asking something from the passage. That's what the passage is being want. They're like, what will be your approach in this kind of situation? Yeah, this was the thing. And we were told to most of the time we have practiced an inference type of question, which was not there in CRT, which was a surprise one.
Okay, one more question that I would like to ask both of you is that did you go to the same center, and was it your same center, both of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure you interacted with a lot of students out there. What was the general mood of the students who, post writing the exam? What was the general feel? How were the students saying? Were they happy? Were they anxious?
Writing the exam when I saw like my peers and everybody was coming out, people told me with such happy and vibrant faces. They were like, "Oh my God, I did 119 attempts. I did 110. I did 112. I did 105. Some did 105. Some did 98 with better accuracy." So they're like vibrant faces, happy faces. Everybody was happy after their.
So basically, after this long year of strenuous, studies, you probably are feeling a little, stress taken off your shoulders.
Previous papers at CLAT 2024 was the easiest CLAT exam to have ever happened.
Okay. Okay, fine. So as one of our, CP All India ranker, we've been talking to them as well. So I'm sure you watched. They said, well, now the key is in the accuracy. How accurate, you really did this thing, because everybody is claiming to have done 85 plus, 90 plus, 100 plus sort of attempts. So if I were to ask you, how many did you attempt? How many questions did you attempt? 110, which is really very good. So, well, is there anything last cut information that you would like to share with us? Anything?
So we were prepared for the worst. So only good thing has happened there.
Okay. So, well, very happy to see and interact with a bright, bubbly set of students out there. I wish you all the best, and we hope to see you again soon when you come out with flying colors. Right? So, on that note, thank you very much. I would like now to be joined by the Prayagraj Center. I think they've been waiting for a while. So, do we have the Prayagraj Center here? Hello?
Hello. So are you able to hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
I can hear you, Sharad, right?
Yes, my name is Sharad Pratap Singh. So first of all, I will say
Sharad,
that
before
the
we
exam
start,
will
are you
be,
from the Prayagraj Center?
Yes, I am from Prayagraj Center.
Okay. So, Sharad, I'm sure you've been with us for the last 45 minutes. So, at that, you
Yes.
already heard a lot of your friends from across India, from the CP family, giving a feedback on CLAT 2024. So, can I also
Yes.
ask you to share with me an overall feedback and then, sectional-wise review?
So first of all, I will say that I completed my exam, my paper 10 minutes before the timing, and I will say that RC was quite easy, and CR was in CR. I will say that there were some options that would be disputable, according to me, and rest in legal. I will say that was very easy and smooth. In quant, it was very simple. And GK, it was I thought that it's first of all that it's RC, because we were all because I saw that everything is given in the passage. That's why I thought that it's RC based questions, and I attempted 120 of 120 of out of 120. I attempted a whole paper.
Oh, so fantastic that you've attempted 100% of the questions. Great.
Yes.
So,
I will
if
say
I were
that,
to ask you on a comparative basis, which section would you say was, a little tricky? Because we obviously are getting, some people are saying CR was slightly tricky. So, overall, what would be your feedback on that?
There was a passage where I got some questions disputable, because both options were looking correct. That's why I will say that there were some disputable questions in CR section.
So, Sharad, you are not the first one today who's actually said, you're actually the first one who's mentioned that to you, GK and RC sections looked similar, because, a lot of answers you could get from the passages. Earlier, there was somebody who'd mentioned to me that CR and RC looked similar to them. So, to that extent, I understand the overall feel that in terms of level of difficulties, CR could be called a little bit tricky, but other sections were pretty much, simple or not too difficult. So, if I were to ask you on the feedback of the other test takers that you might have encountered in Prayagraj, what was the overall mood in Prayagraj?
I saw people attempting 108, 105. I didn't saw anyone attempting more than 115 as the people I encountered. But the paper was quite easy. Everyone has a happy face.
So, okay, fine, great news that. And as I said, again, accuracy is going to be the key today, and a lot of high attempts mark CLAT 2024. A lot of happy, vibrant faces, IVC. So now I think we need to just wait and watch. And my advice to all the test takers is that you've worked really hard, and now is the time to, take a breather, go watch the new movie they're playing, and then, we'll get back to the business of basically once we start getting the final scores. So all the best, Sharad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now I would request CP Delhi, because I've been seeing some students who've been waiting us for a while. So CP Delhi, can we have CP Delhi on screen? Can we connect to CP Delhi?
So a student is on his way. He will be reaching in 5 minutes.
Okay, fine. So give us a shout out when the students come. We would like to interact with them. Okay, so
Sure,
now
sure.
we are joined by a couple of more students who are sitting here right here in our Hazratganj center. So good evening, guys. How are you?
Fine, so
Hi. So so you I hear. I mean, obviously you just come from your test center to CP Hazratganj office. So if I were to ask you for your first impression, you just come out of the exam center. What was the mood at your center? What was the mood of the fellow students who took the test?
sir, actually, sir, everyone gave their paper with beautiful. Means they have very good minds when they gave, but at the end, sir, everyone was scoring. Everyone attempted like 90 or 95. It is just a comment for everyone. If you are just asking and everyone is just telling that they are just attempted 90 to 95, and 90 to 95 is a common attempt over here. And the foremost thing what I will just like to tell today is that I have started my day, and while as per my teachers told me that, as per Siddhartha told me that once you are on the day of examination, you should you are supposed to read newspaper. So I have read newspaper for at least 2 hours, and then after reading that, I went on a battlefield. And then, no doubt, I have, as per my teacher's instructions and the way they told us, and I have just followed those instructions, my experience while giving the mocks and all, and it is very much helpful for me.
So that's
Thank
indeed fantastic. Yeah.
CP team, thank you so much.
Well, that's really heartening to see a lot of positive feedback coming for CP from across centers, which makes us really, really our hearts swell with pride listening to all of that. So yes, I hope all the tricks that were told to you, they worked for you today when you wrote the exam. And again, similar feedback in terms of attempts. You know, there's a huge high number of attempts. The really, you know, what is going to be the deciding factor will be that you know, in terms of accuracy along with high attempts. So looking at a sectional wise, you know, if you were to review the paper from the sectional wise perspective, what do you think was the most trickiest of all? Because everybody is saying GK was pretty easy and RC was easy. What was the trickiest section for you?
The logical reasoning.
Okay, reasoning. Okay, yeah, I hear it was a bit tricky. Logical reasoning paper. That is the feedback that we have heard with our interaction with some of the students there. Okay, so now thank you so much for the feedback. We'll keep coming back to you, but at this point of time, we'll be joined by CLAT Possible Center at Noida and interact with some of the students there. We have, yeah. So we have. I think this is welcome, and Delhi NCR. I think you all are the first to, you know, for us to speak to. So first cut impression.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How does it? You sound very, you know, you are all smiles, which is great
yes,
news.
sir. All
So-
of us are really happy. From what I have seen, like, you know, that misconception of like, if you're not good at GK, you can't make it to an NLU. This paper has proved that that is not actually a thing. Because like the GK was pretty straightforward. They asked us like the recent things that happened in 2023. Israel, Hamas, they asked us about G20, and they asked us about Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which is actually only one static passage was there. And then they asked us about the Chandrayaan launch.
Okay,
So it was
okay.
pretty easy.
Okay, so Chandrayaan launch was also there. It was not one of the things that has been mentioned by earlier students, because I was told there was a section on Hamas, Palestine, Israel. There was a Jallianwala Bagh, as you mentioned. There were India-Canada relationships, G20 summit. So now you basically
Yes,
added
and then
one
there
more.
was the Chandrayaan launch.
Chandrayaan also. So yeah, all very topical, all very recent. Because if I remember last year's paper, you know, some of the students complained that they went beyond the 12-month, 14-month timeline. So I think this time they have
Yeah.
pretty much they stuck to what it
So
was, like
one
very,
very
very.
easy question, like they even asked us who was behind the Chandrayaan launch.
Wow.
Like, why wouldn't someone know that it was ISRO?
Exactly,
So
and
it was
especially
like
with all
really
the hard
simple.
work that your GK teachers, GK faculty's been putting behind you guys, I'm sure the Chandrayaan launch was a cakewalk, right? Or should we
Yes.
say moonwalk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what about the other sections,
Sir,
RCCR?
I think legal was pretty straightforward as well. Like even if like you just had to read the passage once, maybe twice for some. There was one tricky passage from what I had seen in the paper. Other than that, it was really easy. You just had to read. It was basically English, and it
And
was all logical based.
okay, so okay, fine. And what about CR? Some people, some students are saying CR was a little tricky if you were to compare it with the rest of the
No,
test.
so for me it was like easy. I didn't find it that difficult. It was easy. There were one or two. I think there was one passage in every section that was a little tricky, but it was not that it was not solvable. Everything
So
was
everything
very
was
easily
doable.
solvable.
And in terms of
Yes.
attempts, what are the number of attempts that you?
I attempted 106 questions.
106. Very good. And when you
Yes.
compare that with the amount of the number of questions you are attempting in your mocks, how does it look?
I think I've attempted more, like 30 questions more than I was actually attempting in the mocks.
Okay, so
And
one
I am
more
glad that we
proof.
did the mocks. The mocks were like the mocks made this a cakewalk for us.
Fantastic. That's that's music to my ears, right? So all the hard work the CP faculty has put behind you guys, I think it's time for a payoff. So all the best there. Thank you, CLAT Noida, and we'll get back to you later, right? In the interim, we will be joined by our Patna Center. So obviously, we have two bright students out there, lively faces, which tells me a thing or two about how the paper went. So can I hear it from the horse's mouth? How did CLAT 2024 look like?
Sir, I would say it was nothing like a 2023 paper. It was really easy. And yeah, the consortium has again surprised us by proving us that you don't really need to get into the depth of GK, and you just need to, like, the GK questions were just like reading the RC, and you were just, if you have saved the time for yourself for the GK section, you could easily take out your answers from the passage itself. And yeah, sir. I think the paper was really doable, and the cutoff would be really high. And you can't afford to leave the quant section again because the cutoff will be high. And the quant section was really easy. You just
Yeah,
needed
so
to know.
if I may ask you, I will cut you there. Do you have a maths background?
Yes, sir. I'm a science student.
Yeah, because a lot of students, when we interact with them, they dread the quant, the DI section. But it appears that today, I mean, I know a lot of students who never even reach the quant stage, because they are so scared. So between the three of you, is there anybody who has a non-science, who's a non-math student there?
So I am.
So yeah, so to that extent, I would like to learn from you. How was the DI? I mean, the math section. How many did you attempt? There were 12 questions.
Being a humanities student, I have always been scared of maths, but the maths, basically the DI part was really easy. All you need to have a basic calculation. That's all was asked. Both the sets of maths were really based on percentage and ratio proportion, which are the basics of DI what we practice. So I
Absolutely.
think maths was pretty doable, but I could not attempt much questions in maths because I didn't have maths. I only attempted 3 questions, but yeah, maths was doable. I solved the whole set, but I couldn't mark.
Okay.
But
So
for
well,
someone who got time at the last, they were. I'm pretty sure they could do it.
and what are your views on the CR sectional? Some students are calling it a little tricky.
As compared to other sections, yeah, the CR was a bit tricky, and some optionals were iffy in 2 passages, and mostly the kind of questions we are learn to practice through the CP mocks. It was really easy, and again, it was more like RC.
Right.
But
Yeah,
as
that's the
compared to the other
feedback.
sections, as far as legal and RC goes, yeah, the CR sectional was a bit
Yeah, we've
on a
heard,
tougher side.
some students mention. I mean, I've been speaking to a couple of students myself. So once one passage was on AI, artificial intelligence, which I know in the mocks and in the classrooms we have, we all have done a lot. We've read a lot on AI, and one of the passages was with regards to coaching induced pressure on students and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think
So yeah,
coaching, the consortium took an attack on the coaching institute,
right,
and
right, right.
it does to an student.
Fantastic. I can see a lot of smiles there. So thank you very much. I think that was great interacting with you. I wish you all the best. And now, yeah, I think now the time has come for our mentors, CP mentors, faculty members who will come and discuss the various sections with you, all of you, not only in terms of the difficulty levels, not only in terms of how tricky they were, how simple they were. They'll do a in-depth analysis with. Okay, but before we do that, I mean, that will be obviously the faculty members will get together and discuss all of that. You all should be ready to attend that part, the next segment, which will be quite detailed analysis of CLAT 2023, wherein we'll, do a threadbare analysis of CLAT 2023. But before we do that, we have one more center with us right now, which is CLAT Chandigarh. So can we have a quick word with CLAT Possible Chandigarh? Okay, I can see I'm joined with Ankit Kumar. Hi, Ankit. Well, can we connect with Chandigarh? Or if the Delhi team is there, our Delhi students, we can take them, either Chandigarh or Delhi. Okay, so while we wait for CP Delhi and CP Chandigarh, if we were to do a overview of currently what we've spoken about, the students are pretty excited, obviously a little nervous, but not too anxious with the way their exam has gone this evening. So most of the students are obviously happy in terms of the performances, in terms of the attempts that they made. And I think their parameter is obviously they are comparing it with our internal mocks. And this is a feeling that is across the board, that when you compare to what we studied for, if we compare it with our internal mocks, CLAT 2023 seemed like a cakewalk. So obviously that makes us very excited. We wait with bated breath for the results to come. But as one feedback that has come from our past students who've currently all at NLUs doing amazingly well, and all last year's rank holders, that the key would be in terms of accuracy. So somebody who's not only attempted a high number of questions but also maintain their accuracies, they are probably going to make all the difference, right? So we have now is Delhi ready now? Is CP Delhi available? Can I have somebody from the IT department see if we can connect with either CP Delhi, CP Chandigarh, and then I also see Janvi. Okay, I think that's some sort of a technical glitch there. But as I was mentioning that, the first impression of CLAT 2023 is that it did not turn out to be the monster that everyone thought it would, right? So it came out to be a very likable, the monster is obviously not the right word, but it came as something that everyone looked for. Not only did well, they attempted a lot of questions, they are quite happy with their performances. Also, they are excited, they are in that mode of hard work having paid off, all the hard work that they have put in over the last few months, the faculty members, the entire CLAT Possible team. It is time that the dividends pay. So that's a lot of excitement at our center today. A lot of students are have already come in. Now I am joined by my Delhi center. So, hi Karan, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, sir. Good.
So, okay, so that's Delhi center for us, coming straight from Connaught Place Center of CP. So, tell me, I mean, you've just come out from the center, from the test, just maybe an hour and a half back. What's your first
Yeah, yeah,
impression?
yeah.
How did the exam go?
Yeah. So overall, the paper was on the easier side, and there was like one silly mistake. Like I felt a lot of people committed when I like got out of the exam center is that they marked the GK answers without reading the passages in
Okay,
order
that's
to
a new
conserve
one.
the time.
Hmm.
Because like I also like after marking like three passages I came to know that okay there are answers that are in the passages itself, so that like caused two or three minor mistakes, but overall GK was like fine. If someone had like even read a little bit of the passages they would have been able to like score better, but overall when you look at in, RC was totally easy. RC was totally doable. You just had to read the questions and you had to just find the answers, like find like the exact word from the passage. And for as for our CR was a little bit complicated. I mean the question like the questions were simple but the options were close.
Okay. So you're
That
saying
is
if you
something that
were
I
to
felt.
rank in terms of difficulty, probably CR section was something that could probably be called a little tricky. You know, other
Yeah.
sections, as you're saying, RC was pretty very doable. No inference-based questions, no in-depth. Any question requiring a lot of depth there. And you're saying probably a lot of fact-based questions. You read the passage and you get the answers to those, right?
Yeah.
So
Because I was
when
able
you
to do that section in like 20 minutes in last.
okay. Oh, okay, fantastic. So, how many questions did you attempt?
Okay, so I basically attempted 114 questions, but I double marked the OMR. On the OMR, I double marked the 115 questions. So like I remove one from that 114, so it's like total 113 attempts that I made.
Okay, and how does it compare with your attempts in the internal mocks of CP?
I mean, in the internal mocks of CP, I was usually between 80s or somewhere even like not even 80s, but sometimes like more than 85 or like early 90 something. I was not like I could not touch 100 in the CP mock, to be very
Okay, so
honest.
then if
Sometimes I
I,
did, but
yeah.
on an average, I did not. I mean,
So on the whole, are you happy with your performance?
I mean, it was like far better than what I expected, and as well the question that came in the this year's CLAT, it was mostly from the I personally believe the class sheets that we did. I mean, I was having the remembrance of like how Shruti ma'am taught us. The question was exactly on that level. So it was not from mock. I would say it was mocks are like way too complicated. CP mocks are on the tougher side, like sometimes even tougher than LE. But generally, it was from the CP class sheets. So if
So when
anybody would have attempted the classes properly and would not have studied at home, they would still have done pretty well in the examination.
yeah,
So I
so
mean,
that's
I'm
a
happy for
feedback
that.
that is coming from across our centers, wherein students are
Thank you.
saying that a lot of stuff. I mean, if students attended the classes regularly, they were quite well equipped to handle all the challenges. In fact, some students are saying they were more than equipped because, as you mentioned, that in terms of mocks, our mocks were obviously quite difficult. But the good thing is they ensured that when the paper was easy, you all made the kind of attempts you did, and with the confidence that I can clearly see, writ large on your face. So one more question. Obviously you would have interacted with other students, other test takers today at your
Yeah.
center. So what was that? Were they feeling so jubilant? Were they also so excited?
So I mean, everybody was like on the neutral ground after like giving CLAT. But when I was in the examination hall and I got stuck in like one passage in CR, like the second, second passage of CR, and I was looking around around in my class, and I was looking at other people, and those people like were tapping their feet. They were like nervous. So I could like understand that though the paper is easy, but still I don't think so. A lot of people would be able to score a lot of marks. I mean, Albeit paper people think was easy, but it was like kind of trickier as well. So like when I was looking at other people, I mean, I could just feel the nervousness on their face, but I was not having any of that.
I'm sure you are not, because with the kind of rigor that we have put behind all the mocks and the classroom sheets, as you mentioned, and the entire, the support. I think, one thing that is common across all students is they feel absolutely confident. They feel that, CP set them on the right foot, and they are all expecting great results. So on that note, thank you very much. I wish you all the best, and we really hope to see you, all you guys amongst the top rankers. Right? So now we have,
Thank you, sir.
that was CP Delhi. Now I can see one more participant, Mihika Jindal. So can we connect with Mihika now? Okay, is Mihika available? Okay, so I think again some technical glitch out there. I could see Mihika, but now I don't think she's available. So again, a lot of
Hello.
yeah. Hi, is that
I'm
Mihika?
sorry, it was a glitch. Yes.
Yeah, hi Mihika. Can you introduce
Just a
yourself?
second.
I really can't make out which center you are from.
Actually, I'm from CP Chandigarh Center.
Okay, great. We were just waiting to connect Chandigarh, and we were facing some technical glitches. I am sure they are over now. So can you turn on your video, please? The camera, can you turn it
Actually,
on?
it will take a bit time.
Okay, it's okay. In the meanwhile, okay, now it's on. I can see you, Mihika. So, Mihika, tell me, how does it feel now that you are just out from, one of the biggest exams that you have probably given all your life?
Yes. Actually, while giving the exam, I felt that it was too easy. I mean, because when I was giving the CP mocks are quite difficult. And one of the greatest thing that CP mocks have, done for me is legal section. Because for CP mocks, legal sections are the best. Like, I don't think no other coaching has this kind of mocks. So legal section was really good, and that's why in legal I'm very confident that in CLAT the legal section was pretty easy too.
Well, that's a
In
result of,
when the
I
center
mean,
that
I
I was
think,
in,
yeah, go ahead.
the center that I was in, many students were like they have attempted 110 that it was a quite moderate paper for a lot of people, even if you have studied like 3-4 hours a day and you have attempted nicely.
Okay, so you also think that, the key would be in terms of the accuracy. So good attempts,
Yes.
and add that with a lot of accuracy. That's going to really hold the key to CLAT 2023.
Yes.
Any section, Mihika, that you found to be tricky or to be difficult if you were to do a comparative relative analysis? Because apparently everything was not really tough this year. So any particular section that you found to be tricky?
For me, particularly CR section, because there was one passage in which you had to, you were given a situation like you have to find out the problems in production efficiency of a company, and you were given like 4 or 5 points about that, and the questions were based on that points, that what do you feel like would make it more efficient, what do you think is the problem. So it was not fact based or passage based, but it was more like what you think is the better option.
So probably a decision-making sort of an approach that was required there.
Yes.
Okay, great. So basically, one more thing, as you said, most of the students were moderately, happy, saying that, okay, it was not such a tough paper. So, well, to that extent, I think very happy to hear that you performed well, and I can see your smile, which is probably showing that you're quite happy with, what you had been preparing for in the last couple of months, I'm sure. So we are looking at great results from the all the centers and also from the Chandigarh center, and I'm sure Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Chandigarh. Wishing you all the best. You take care. Okay, now I will be joined by Krishita Agarwal. Krishita is also from is a student of CP from Chandigarh. So Krishita, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. I can
I'm
see you are on
absolutely
your
doing
way
fine.
back from your exam center. I can still you are joining us while you are in transit. Right. So how did it go for you?
Yes, yes. Yeah. I think it was pretty nice. I was like not expecting that easy level, but yeah, it was nice. And eventually, I thought that it would be difficult for me because I was not quite doing good in marks, and my score was like lining between 50, 60s ka range, and I thought that I won't be able to make it. But after looking at the exam, I was like somehow confident, and I thought that yes, I can do it. Also, CP has like helped me a lot because I started from like zero, and to pull my car to even that thing, everything was done by CP itself. So my whole credit is to CP only. My teachers are like pretty they give me a lot of courage. They help me like yes, I can do it till the end. Like they were like yes, you can do it, please don't panic, don't think that you won't be able to, you can do it. So like it was pretty courageous.
Yeah, I mean that because besides obviously all the teaching and coaching, one of the things that sets good teachers from not, I mean good teachers is the fact that they are there to motivate you, lift your spirits when you need it the most. So I'm happy to know that CP was able to help you in that journey, and it's very it's feel very happy to receive such positive statements from you. So if I were to ask you any section that caught you off guard, any section that was tricky.
I thought for me it was like from the starting it was CR only because I was not good in CR, and also today also I felt that 50% of CR was like if you need to do it, you need to be like pretty into it. Like you can't just avoid it, and you can't distract yourself. Like you need to be very confident doing that. Also, just quite reading it and putting your all in it, because if you think you can get distracted and you can just take 2 3 minutes just to understand it, it would waste your time, because it was like a little trickier than rest of the section, I would say. Also for me, legal 2 or 3 passages from legal were also like you need to understand it. 2 or 3 were quite easy, you can just do it from the one reading only, you can do it. But 2 or 3 passages were like you need to just understand it. But overall CR was like little trickier. RC was quite good, it was quite good.
So okay, what was the general mood at your center? I mean, how were the students generally, after coming out from the exam center? What was the mood at the center?
I saw people smiling. Actually, when I came out, I was like little freezed. I don't know why. My exam went good also, but still I was like little freezed. But I saw people smiling, and they all were like, "It was easy. It was quite easy. It was easy peasy, and we are going to make it to the NLU." So everybody was like that.
Yeah, so great. I mean, obviously, we've seen great results from our Chandigarh center last year as well. So I'm sure you are going to join the ranks, and here's hoping that you will. So thank you so much, Krishita, for talking to us and for sharing, your experience with CLAT 2023. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, so it appears that for the majority of the students, CLAT 2023 went well. There were some hiccups for a few, especially when it came to the CR section. But all in all, it was not something that the students were not prepared for. In fact, one of the feedbacks is that, everyone thought they were far better equipped than probably what they were tested for. So, I mean, while that is good news, one of the other feedbacks, as I'm saying, is that, the key will be in getting, accuracy mixed with attempts. And that is going to call the shots. And while we wait for the test series, answer keys to come, obviously students can relax, a job well done, all the efforts, that they put, the last leg, actually proving quite exciting for everyone around. So as I'd mentioned that post this segment, please do not log out, because we will be joined by our team of mentors and faculty members who will be analyzing in a very threadbare manner the various sections. Also, what are the probable, in terms of scores, what can we expect in terms of how, at what are the scores in which we can expect calls from NLUs and stuff, right? So all that and much more in a segment that will follow this. And if there's anyone else out there who would probably like to have a few quick last words, then please feel free to give us a shout here. Else, I think overall it's been a good day, a very exciting day for all of us here at CP. A lot of anxious moments today, a lot of students coming in, sharing their insights. And I think we are very excited as well and happy that the CP students, are very, very confident and very well assured that, they have done their paper well and CP equipped them with all the right tools. So on that note, I would like to say a goodbye to all of you. But as I said, do not log off. You will be joined by the team of experts who will be analyzing and discussing the test paper. So very soon we will be going live, and do not log out. Okay? Okay. So again, I wish you all the best to all of you, all your hard work, all your efforts. It's the final lap, and we are very, very sure that, it is going to pay off. So now that you've come out from an exam, months of hard work, effort, tears, soil, I would say that, post this analysis, enjoy the next 2-3 days, take off, rest, breathe easy, watch the new series they are playing, right? All that and more. So thank you very much. On that note, I would hand it out to the team of experts at CP. So just wait for a bit before we start our analysis of CLAT 2023. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.